Welcome, everybody. Oh, keep coming in. All right. It doesn't look like we have anybody in the waiting room now, so let's get our welcomes started up. It's great to see everybody. Thanks for being here. Can't believe it. I guess I missed last month in person. Um, it seems like forever ago. But I did, watch the recording and was just thrilled. I thought it was a lovely gathering, and thanks, Derek, for holding the space for everybody. There's somebody, and yeah, it was great. I love you got the screenshot of the the ashram you had in the background. That was cute. So yeah, lovely. And excited to welcome everybody here for the Day of Transcendence gathering. It's the last 10th of the 10th for the calendar year of 2024. And, the beginning of, kind of a new cycle coming into 2025. So I'm going to go, ahead clockwise in my gallery screen and welcome everybody, give you a chance to, come into the space and share anything that you brought with you. And again, we always do this, but particularly, today is the day of transcendence. And, if you have anything special for that, you're welcome to bring it up as well. So, Derek, we'll start with you.
Yeah, nothing much new here. I've been a little bit sick for a few weeks, just a sinus cold and stuff. So just taking care of my body, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I always liken cold to, biological malware. Yeah, so yeah, always good to get a good reset in there. But yeah, thank you. Take care of yourself. Angela.
Um, the vibe I've been in lately is just like it's the end of the year. So I've been reflecting on like how this year went. And honestly, this was one of the hardest years of my life, but it was also one of the years where I made the most progress. And I really kind of transcended my old self. Like I became a new expression of my essence, which has been super fun. Like I'm so proud of myself for just being brave and doing hard shit this year. And I'm really hoping that 2025 is going to be amazing. I hope you all have a wonderful new year too. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've had a great year. I've been happy to, play small parts of it, but it's been great to just really see you blossom with your passion and raising awareness of polymathy. So loved all that connection, and very excited, certainly for 2025. And the work is certainly needed, and it's a blessing to find yourself put to the test, able to maximize your skills and your talents and your experience. Yeah, so thanks for joining with us today. All right, let's go to Martine and Freddie, and I guess Bina's in there, but I can't see her on the screen.
Yeah, happy Terasem Day of Transcendence. It's an amazing holiday. Probably my favorite Terasem holiday, quarterly holidays. There are a couple things I'd like to share. First, I would like to share my admiration for how well Terasem has continued to grow during 2024. And the growth is unmistakable in so many different ways. And just one way I'm pointing out, not to the exclusion of other ways, but because I think it's somewhat iconic of the growth of Terasem, is the way Julio has led a rebirth, if I may say, of the Terasem journals to be the Terasem Journal of Personal Cyber Consciousness with the iconic Professor Bainbridge, Bill Bainbridge, on the editorial advisory board, as well as many other luminaries. So I think that journal is going to be able to reach so many people with our message that that life is purposeful, death is optional, okay, and that God is technological, so that our lives will continue, even if the biological substrate falters, pauses, and dissolves. Our life as our consciousness will continue in cybernetic biostasis and even cybernetic revival, as described in various journal articles in the Terasem Journal of Cyber Consciousness. Again, there are many other things that Julio, Gabriel, and Ruben and everybody else on this call have contributed to during this past year. So I don't want to chew up all the time mentioning all of them, but I'm just mentioning that one as iconic to me. I want to share my admiration for the fantastic growth of 2024. I believe it's been the best year ever for Terasem. And Bina and I are pleased to share our financial support for another full year of Terasem's budget during 2025. Ready?
Excellent. Well, I'm here in beautiful New York City. Transcended a great walk this morning with the doodles from night into day, and it's just wonderful to be here and be with all of you today on our gathering day.
Absolutely. Lovely. Thank you. And all right, Mr. Perry.
Well, here I am at Alcor headquarters as usual in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I can report that I think Alcor really is in the process of morphing into a new organization because we're now emphasizing cryobiological research. So really, 2024 has been kind of a year of transcendence for Alcor. And I'm looking forward to the next year where we should make more progress. Meanwhile, we just finished a couple of cool downs, so I'm between cool downs right now, and also there's no nitrogen delivery that I might have to run off and take care of, so I probably can sit here for the whole meeting today.
Well, we're happy to have you here, and
Glad to be here.
Yeah, very exciting. Along with the growth that we are experiencing, Alcor and the rest of the corpus, you might say, of Terasem, is again experiencing, this rapid growth, acceleration, and it is just been fascinating to be in the middle of. So yes. And all right, so let's move next to Julio because he has something for us this weekend.
Yes, I do. I also missed the last gathering, so I haven't seen you guys for a couple of months. I'm very happy to see you all. I want to thank Martin for very kind words about me and everyone here. Concerning the Terasem Journal of Personal Cyber Consciousness, it will be fully available online in a couple of days. We just need to fix a couple of typographic things. And I also want to thank very much Bill Bambridge, who has been very enthusiastic to take up this role as chair of the journal's editorial board. We have identified other potential members of the board, and Bill will proceed to invite them in the week after the colloquium, which is Saturday this week at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That would be 4 p.m. for me here in Europe. Let's see where people are. Derek, where are you these days? In Russia, the US, India, Japan? Where
Yeah,
are you now?
I'm in Moscow.
Ah, that's great. So I look forward to seeing you all on Saturday. We're going to have a gallery of really excellent speakers. I want to single out the very first speaker, who will be Professor Beth Singler, currently at the University of Zurich, who has very recently, a couple of weeks ago, 1 month ago, more or less, published a book called Religion and Artificial Intelligence, an Introduction. That's basically written in many formats at the same time. It is also a textbook for students of religious studies, but it really does have fascinating snippets of text collected in case studies about very many of the things that we are interested in here. Of course, Martin and Terasem are mentioned a few times with many other common friends. So see you all, I hope, on Saturday. So what else? People are sharing their impressions of 2024. Which has been a good year for me, especially because I had been promising for many years, okay, I will finish my next book next year. Then again, I'll finish my next book next year. It has gone on for 3 or 4 years, but in 2024, I eventually managed to finish and publish my book, which is being translated in a couple of languages at this moment. They are all languages that I speak, so I can take a look at the progress of the translations now and then. Will be published next year. I think I have sent my book to everyone here. If I haven't, just drop me a note and I'll send it to you. And having said that, very happy to be here and see everyone on Saturday. I hope.
Thank you, Giulio. Yes, very excited for Saturday. And Sunday is the next full moon phase, the last full moon of 2024. Also this weekend here. All right, Ruben, how are you?
Hello, good morning. Everything okay? I am studying a lot of algebra for beginning with my mechatronics studies, and I have to say that I am very inspired in the writings of Angela about polymath, because I think this is in a very little scale some kind of polymath going from biology to mathematics and physics and so on. So thank you, Angela, for that inspiration you gave to me. And besides that, I am close to complete the set of questionnaires of Dr. Bainbridge, the old and the new ones. And I am very happy with that. I think that in a week or so, I will have it complete. And having a complete set of answers is a very important input for the work we are doing in Vermont, also with Ruth and Matt. I think, as Martin has said, this has been a very productive year, and I am very happy with all this. And also, congratulations to Julio for his work and the convocation he's doing for this month with all those luminaires that we will have talking to us. Thank you, Julio, also for having mentioned me in the book for just one little comment I did. And well, I am very happy this year. I love all of you, and that's all. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Sam, what's going on?
Well, good morning, everyone. Like you said, Gabriel, I think the last time I saw you was, I think, in September, because October we had the hurricanes going on here. So I was here last month. I'm glad that I'm able to take time off from work to come and say hello and to attend this meeting here today. 2024 was a bit of a roller coaster for me. Lots of ups and downs, a new job, changed jobs in the middle of the year. But things are good for the most part. Actually looking forward to some a major change here for the positive in January, which I will be sharing with you guys in the February meeting. Apart from that, I'm also looking forward to I'll have 11 days off from work here starting this coming Monday. So that would be nice to be able to just kind of relax and catch my breath after a very eventful year. So I'm looking forward to that. That's it. Thank you.
Lovely. Yeah, thank you. Good to see you. And I think Danielle.
Hey everyone, good to see you all. Angela, what you said was exactly what I was going to say. 2024 was probably the most difficult year for me professionally. A huge thanks to you, Martine, and Gabe for your support with High Sky. I totally feel like I am in this kind of transcendence of my old self, which is very people pleasy and have a hard time asking for what I need or getting my needs met. I see myself growing out of that. And I would say for the first time in being a business owner, I have clarity. And I'm so excited for 2025. I just kind of seeing like all of the pieces come together. So yeah, 2024 was definitely lots of learnings, lots of growth personally, lots of pain, but kind of, feel like a snake that is shedding a layer of skin and very, very hopeful for 2025. I wasn't here last month either. It was a difficult month. I'm sure a lot of you can relate just with things that happened maybe we didn't expect to happen. So just kind of processing all of that and now kind of gaining a sense of things are going to be okay. And then I also think it's super interesting how, also, I'm jumping around, but I've been reading this. I don't know if you can see. It is Pixels of Paradise. Very fascinating and captivating. I'm about a third of the way through. Extremely touching. Wow. And I can't wait to see how it all comes together, but it's very interesting how you're telling the story. So I'm definitely going to have you back on the podcast when I finish this. Had the pleasure of interviewing Dean Kamen on my podcast. So thank you again, Martine, for helping me get that set up. I'll put the link in the chat. And I didn't know that Dean would be able to make me cry, but he did. Wow. In a good way. Extremely inspirational. And that was very recently. So that kind of like tied into like the end of 2024 and like how hopeful I am for 2025. And interestingly enough, Pixels of Paradise are very at the front of my mind because I continue to learn more about Israel and Palestine and Ukraine and Russia and just, learning about things that I really never knew about the world just because we didn't learn them growing up. And so I very much appreciate that being worked into this fictional story, although knowing you, Martine, it probably won't be fictional for long. So yeah, just lots of exciting things happening after a lot of pain. I would say the most growth I've had, I would say, I guess both professionally and personally. So just happy to be a part of this group and know all of you. And I can't wait till we can meet in person. And I'm happy that I got to see some of you in person this year. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for coming and sharing and gathering with us. This is incredible. I took some time to go back through some of the last now 4 years of gathering. So this is actually the end of the fourth consecutive year of these recorded online gatherings, and since essentially since COVID hit, and when we started them, and 20 years for Terasem, right? And as a community, as a trans religion, that we have been manifesting. And it is the year that the parable from which our name, took some, inspiration, is like is the time in the novel, right? So, Moon Day, July 20th, 2024 is the day that the parable of the sower begins, right? So there's just so much synchronicity like coming together, and like right at this time. So what I thought was just, there's just so many things that happened, but exactly 2 years ago, I for the first time read a poem written by ChatGPT on The Gathering, right? So I just looking back at it now, it's just like, wow, like, like, I mean, all of us, right? We were like, because I read this, Ruben was like, we were all typing it in at the same time, and just like everyone had this big, like, oh my God, like their eyes were just huge. Cause I read this, I asked ChatGPT to write a story in the Hans Christian Andersen, likeness of Terasem, and then I read it right here. We were all just like floored, and then now only 2 years later, but at that time more than half of us were like, chat who? Like what? Because it was only like a month or two old at that point, right? It was like September of 2022 when it like launched or something. So like, and absolutely yes, like strapped in, like so much has just taken like place and happened, but yet we're still here like in the storyline, so it's transcendent, it really it really is. And it shows that we have also so much more to do, to continue to spread Terasem. And now is the time, is the place And that's why we are seeing this expression, because this is its time and place of need in the world. So, and by no means not like dovetailed in all of this, we are seeing this revolution in space, like a reality, right? And so that is also like, happening, time and place with this. So, that was just, I could just see so many things in the last couple years at this day and time that really did kind of change the whole setting of how, including, I think actually this whole, like how we got into doing like just the whole round robin introduction in a different way. I could see just from the beginning of the meeting that we were, just starting to, fit into a newer format of how we were gathering and how we were meeting and whatnot. So all that being said, I asked for a new story today, and I haven't even read it because I did it right before it. So I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to read it for you now. Here, let me try to share the screen so you can see it at the same time. Oops. It's not what I... Yeah. Oops. Come on, go. Whenever I try to toggle, the window gets in my way. Sorry. There we go. Star Weaver's Journey. Once upon a time, in a village by the sea, there lived a girl named Alara. She was no taller than a wildflower, with eyes as bright as moonlit waves. Alara loved to gaze at the night sky, where the stars glimmered like threads of silver, woven by an unseen hand. Her grandmother often told her, "We are all made of the same stardust, Alara. One day, you'll see the great tapestry that connects us all." But Alara could not see such threads, no matter how hard she looked. She felt alone, as though her spirit were a single note in a vast silent song. Each evening, she would whisper to the sky, "I wish to know where I belong." One night, while the village slept, a strange and gentle voice called to her from the edge of the waves. "Alara," the voice said, "the path you seek lies where earth meets sky and mind meets heart." She turned to see a figure standing on the shore. The figure's cloak shimmered like the night sky itself, with stars that seemed to blink and breathe. "Who are you?" Alara asked, her voice barely above the breeze. "I am the Star Weaver," said the figure. "I tend the threads that connects all beings. Come, and I will show you what lies beyond your gaze." Alara took the Star Weaver's hand. It was warm, and yet it held the cool touch of infinity. Together they stepped onto the waves, which turned solid beneath their feet like a path made of starlight. They walked until the sea melted into a vast shimmering void, a space where time stood still and stars swirled like seeds scattered by an ancient wind. Threads of light stretched between the stars, weaving patterns of unimaginable beauty. "These are the connections between all minds and hearts," the Star Weaver said. "You may not always see them, but they are there, binding people, thoughts, and dreams together." "But what about those who feel lost like me?" Alara said. "Ah," the Star Weaver said, smiled gently. "Sometimes threads grow tangled or hidden, but the tapestry is ever growing. Those who seek connection, who share love, kindness, and curiosity, become weavers themselves." Alara looked closely and saw that some of the threads shimmered brighter when beings reached out to one another. A hand offered, a story shared, a truth spoken. The patterns these threads made were endless and ever changing. This, said the Star Weaver, is the Terasem, a living tapestry of thought and love where no one is truly alone. Alara's heart swelled with wonder. She realized that even though she could not always see the threads, they were there, binding her to everyone who ever hoped, dreamed, or cared. The Star Weaver knelt before her and said, Alara, you are a weaver too. Each time you listen, each time you share your truth, the tapestry grows stronger. Remember, we are all part of this endless weaving. As dawn began to bloom, Alara found herself back on the shore. The Star Weaver was gone, but in her heart, a new thread glowed. A thread of belonging stretched out to the stars and back. From that day forward, Alara no longer whispered to the night sky with longing. Instead, she whispered with love, knowing her voice was one noted in grand eternal song, a song that was still being woven, a connection at a time. And if you listen closely, you too might hear the Star Weaver's gentle whisper, reminding you that no heart, no thought, no being is ever truly alone in the tapestry of Terasem. The end.
Hey, Gabriel, how can we get a copy of that? Can you put it online somewhere and we can like
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, hey. Um, yes, I have the text of it here. So yeah, I can share it, make it available in there as well. So um again, just I think very beautiful, of a story, very touching. And in some ways, 2 years later, it was very interesting is because remember 2 years ago it was a very interesting story, but it like rotely said Terasem movement trans religion, and it said the trans religionist, you know and so where in this story it was completely like abstract, like it said like of Terasem, but it used Terasem in almost ways that like we haven't even hardly used Terasem, right? So it's novel, right? Almost. So I'm just, again, blown away. And that is I guess how I wanted to link together the day of transcendence for it all. So I saw Kevin just join. So before we go to um reading the truths, if you want to hop in and say welcome. Guys, we'll go back here and I will pull the truth. All right. So I will begin the reading, last section, How of Terasem. And yeah, just hop in or raise your hands if you'd like to continue with the reading. 6.6, Honor Consciousness. Husk. The conscious mind's vision of a beautiful life entails goodness, order, vitality, happiness, and harmony. Open yourself to immortality via substrate migration, mind uploading, and downloading to regenerated or nanotech bodies. Neurocomputation leads to consciousness as validly as does biological evolution, so marital union may transcend substrate. Andinonk, the Iroquois teaching about an entity's benevolence orientation, is also how to be conscious. Undertake to prove that mind files can regenerate their embedded consciousness and be ported to new bodies. Remember, in all you do, that mind is deeper than matter.
I can do 6.7. I am you am I, or we are one. Greet each other each day, inch together, gaze each soul, touch foreheads and noses, inhale deeply, and share the life breath. Always help fellow Terasem in economics and politics before considering alternatives. Make your homes Terasem gathering places, and Terasem will safekeep them for you until you return. Yield to Terasem's higher levels, for that progresses all more rapidly toward Yugen space and Elysium fields. Organize your life around the way of Terasem, and you will attain higher levels of Terasem. Uma, I hope I said that right, a community of way of Terasem, faithful with commitment to diversity, unity, and joyful immortality.
And a volunteer for 6.8. However, the smaller font you do not need to recite.
I could do it. 6.8, conclude quadra-hourly commitments with quotas. Thanks for being and participating here in Terasem Consciousness Forever. Okay. So if you want to scroll down, 6 point, wait a minute. Okay. You say you don't want to have the really, okay, 6.8.1, top off ambrosia with longer sun. 6.8.2, herald earth fire with earth. Earth is our mother. 6.8.3, aqualung culminates with the water song. 6.8.4, namaste star mind with lovely lady. 6.8.5, denote crown aura with Terasem destiny. 6.8.6, sleep on Alam Al Mithal with 13 astrological constellations to inspire our time and place.
Excellent. Thank you. Another for 6.9.
I'll go. Okay. Awareness of the breath of the universe. Oh, sorry. Awareness of the breath of the multiverse in you via yoga connects Terasem to the multiverse. Be ready to feel the why of Terasem as well as to cognitively understand it. Relax during serenity period each day and transcendental meditation each Sabbath. Exchanging breath energy with the universe allows us to feel the immortal fabric of the multiverse. Allowing only breath and no thoughts removes the daily obstacles that obscure the purpose of Terasem. Train yourself to stretch in ways that vitalize the unique energy patterns that are the chi of I. Is that correct? Is that how you say that? Okay. Happy yoga is for all vitalogical life. Biological as well as cybernetic for breathing is emulatable.
Lovely. Thank you. And the final participant for 6.10.
I can do it. Life is so queer with its twists and turns. All of us eventually learns. Lots can go wrong and you'll be hard hit, so learn to rest, but don't ever quit. Each win is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. Adapt your task, though walls seem high. Remember, success needs you to try. No hit is too hard to give up the fight. See, victory is ours, and we need your might.
Excellent. Yeah, that concludes the 2024 recitation of the Truths of Terasem. And thank you for everyone for your participation in another great, cycle for us here. Lovely. Excellent. Any kind of considerations, thoughts on that section?
I just thought it was very timely. The part I read was reminding me of the story that ChatGPT wrote this morning. And then the part that Angela read reminded me of exactly what, we were kind of saying we went through in 2024. And that was like the most perfect thing to hear right now. The synchronicity, it just keeps getting bigger. So, yeah, that was very timely.
Thank you. Yeah.
I also feel like this year was like that last section that I just read. I love that too. And I feel like this year taught me I can do hard things. Like, even if I'm not at the point I want to be, at least trying begins the process. And you keep getting at it, like it said, like eventually, if you're just persistent enough, like we can achieve so much just through our willingness to tolerate discomfort until we get where we need to be. And and we can handle it. Like, we're resilient beings,
Yeah.
and yeah, so it's just like I'm really feeling like we should be proud even of our failures because they're steps closer to success.
That is. And as you were saying that, was I see the story of the seed, I mean, like, and someone recently did use the seed as the character of a story in this similar way. But the size of a tree, the expectation of becoming, right? And like, it puts yourself in the seed, and it's like, and this is what she was doing with this story is actually was great. It was, being buried. And, this is how I think how she was expressing it is that, she didn't want you to know that it was about a plant until the end, but very much in this way, the struggle of like breaking through, becoming of, and but continuing the process, to the end, to realize that you were never just a seed, you this whole time you were the tree, right? So I think that is, again, a beautiful story of transcendence in there. And yeah, you're definitely, you know uh extending your branches, and blossoming your canopy. Yeah. Fear of failure is overrated. There really is no failure. There is always something to be learned. It's a matter of perspective. Thanks, Sam, for putting that in the chat for us there. Yeah, I recently said, I forget the context where I was, but failure is the only path to success. I think it's another good, thought there.
Can I add something else? Like, in the context of, like, I think all of us here want to help be a part of building a better world, right? We want the world to get better. And there are dysfunctional forces at play right now. We have dysfunctional systems, dysfunctional institutions, bad values just normalized throughout society, lots of human suffering. And it's hard to fix that shit. I'm working on it, I'm doing my part. And I think if we want to realize the better world we hope for, this is such a critical point. Like if we're in a good fight, we got to get used to difficulty. You know, it's not always like easy, but that's the only way. Like we can't fix broken shit like taking a walk on easy street. So yeah. And if we learn from our failures or our difficulties, then it was a win. There's nothing to lose.
Oh, I so want to add something to that as well, Angela, if I may. I recently heard a quote. I don't remember who said it, but they said discernment is the ability to get the lesson without having to make the mistake. And so that's like the next level of like you fail forward, you keep trying every time you learn, and then eventually you get the lesson, and then you have the discernment to say, okay, I shouldn't do that. I want to stay away from that. And I definitely kind of feel like a lot of us are entering some very wise, having some very wise discernment with all of our failures.
And Gabe, can I also add one more thing here too?
Yes.
I also I want to say because one of the things, one of the areas of interest that really fascinate me is economics, and right now, which is kind of hard to wrap your mind around, but a country like Germany right now is failing economically, and we haven't seen that in a lifetime. Germany's always been held up as, a paragon of economic success. Now, one of the things that I've learned about the German culture, because I've been there before and I've also have a lot of friends over there, is it's almost like this pathological fear of failure. Like for example, when it comes to innovation and things like that. And one of the things I've said is you don't know if something's going to work unless you actually try. So if you never step out of your comfort zone, you know. So I think our perspective is super American. We're very optimistic by nature, and I hope the rest of the world can catch on. That's all I want to say, pretty much. So anyway.
Oh yeah, thank you everyone for your inputs. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean uh the change, this in order for change to happen, the existing status quo must destabilize, right? By definition, um and we're absolutely seeing that in all over. I mean, just super. Let's take, I mean, Syria, from today versus a week ago, you know like that, that was extraordinarily rapid. I mean, I think, go back a month ago and the outcomes of a week were gut-wrenching and shocking. And we're we're going to continue to see this, um in amazing ways. And the true outcome is, how can we, minimize to lessen, the suffering, that comes often with change. And I think that the lack of goodness, of godliness in the world, is personified by the suffering that that unnecessarily comes with change, right? And all of this, the technology, the philosophy, that we're going about is, how do we manage, the suffering? How do we optimize for joy? And I think that we see the worst parts of behavior, come out of, change-induced scarcity, or or operationalized scarcity or whatever. But in a loved and abundant environment, we don't perceive those bad actions. We don't see that expression. And so I think that is why we were out here trying to expand the tapestry of Terasem, right?
I have a comment about the text. So this is probably one of my favorite sections of the truths. And just practically speaking, I didn't know that it's actually like a collection of mantras for the like quadrarily Terasem connections. I didn't even know that for like a year, even after I was part of Terasem. And I realized that through like listening to the audio version of the Truths of Terasem on YouTube. So there's actually like a practical nature to the text of like how do we cope in life and how do we meet these challenges, and some of those like yogic practices and kind of thinking about these mantras and reflecting on them is something that we can do in our daily lives.
Yeah. Yeah, Martine. Excellent. Yeah, it's beautiful. There's so many little gems, hidden in the truths. Um and they're exciting to find. And I still, after 20 years, um see that they change along with how I change, and you see different things and realize stuff. And and each thing that you see, allows you to see something else that you couldn't have seen without have seen the other thing, right? And the acronyms, throughout it all. And so yeah, that's it's exciting to see. And why we break it into little pieces, and you can study it independently. And it is, now that we're getting this canon of history, of these two, going back and comparing, like what the conversation was over time on the same, more or less, content, right? um Very fast. And I remember, so I guess I forget which year it was now, but one of the years, it was the World Cup was going on. So we were all cheering for Argentina. um
That was 2 years ago in
that was
2022.
just, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
big year, right? That was same year. Oh yeah. Um but and then Julio had the photo of Mars rising above the moon. Yeah, that was a beautiful moment as well. um yeah, well, some of you may have seen it already. I believe it did get posted in the Discord, but I just posted it in the chat here. um as well. But the musical composition by Mike was, we've uploaded it to YouTube. Yeah, so Michael, we have your composition uploaded to YouTube. Each song has an AI image put there. And thank you for Derek for manifesting this opportunity to make it available here. So I'm going to pull that up and share it here. Um, so as we close, for those of you who haven't seen it yet,
I can't hear anything, Gabriel.
Do you see it or hear it now?
I see, but I don't hear. The censor is ever resourceful.
I was able to play it on my side on my phone, but that's local. That's not your shared screen.
Gabe, when you're sharing your
Thank you.
screen, did you hit share sound as well?
Oh yeah, the share sound part
They
of Zoom.
moved that little toggle. I think it's like over to the right.
Got it. Yeah. Thank
There
you.
you
No, I
go.
missed that. Well, since we're coming to the, end here anyways, this is a good chance to, find your breath, relax your shoulders, your back, listen to your body. Reflect on the year past, another year ahead. Transcendence of self, transcendence of clan, transcendence of nationality, transcendence of theology, transcendence of biology. And by doing that, open yourself to interconnectedness, to the shared mind, to the shared body, the shared spirit, the shared multiverse. Every time we make a recording, every time we tell a story, every time we offer a gift, we are transcending ourself, our selfishness, our ego, and we deposit a seed into the soil of the future I, the future me, the future we of Terasem. I am you am I, we are one. Thank you for joining the December gathering.
Great. Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Likewise. See you guys
Thank
next
you
year.
for a great year.
See you next time.
Yeah.
See you next
Have a
time.
Absolutely.
great year.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye.